Princess Neru. One day, while at the beach, Lilybeth found a crystal ring that had been buried in the sand. Wow, I wonder how long this has been here, she thought to herself. And when she put it on, she suddenly found herself standing upon a far distant planet called Energy, a planet that was located in the Taxian galaxy, and for some strange reason it felt as if she had been there before. And as she stood there, this looked so familiar, she thought to herself, as she was surrounded by natives who began worshipping her as their princess, Neru. I'm not your princess, she told them, unsure if that was true or not. They just kept pointing at the ring and said, All hail, Princess Neru. She has returned to us to free us from the rule of the wicked queen, Tree, the first, the princess's stepmother. So Lilybeth decided to go along with their insistence that she was their princess and to help them in their hour of need. So she said, okay, so what do we do now? So Teteli, the high priest and a former wise and trusted advisor to the murdered king, stepped forward and said, Princess Neru, I seek to serve you as I served your father, the king, faithfully and with honor. We must attack the palace now, before they realize you have returned to us, and as our forces are attacking the main gate, we will enter the palace through the secret underground passageway, known only to myself and the king, surprising and defeating the queen and her allies. Lilybeth did not know whether to trust this advisor or not, so she talked to others besides him. Then she went along with his plan, because it got her inside of the castle, and that is what she wanted. So the plan was set in motion. As the group traveled and walked through the tunnels, they were attacked by troops loyal to the queen, who had been in hiding in wait as Teteli, the high priest and once wise and trusted advisor of the king, disappeared. He ran away. He abandoned them. As Lilybeth and her soldiers were captured and disarmed, and their hands were tied, and as they were marched through the tunnels and into the great hall, she was slowly freeing herself from her ropes. And when she was brought before the queen said, Princess Neru, welcome, child. I've brought you here because I wanted to see you die. Die in front of me, just like I watched your father die, begging for his life. Lilybeth knew that was a lie. And just then Lilybeth, seeing her soldiers who had slipped into the castle through a different tunnel, give her the signal from their hiding place, and she yelled, Now! As they all came rushing out from their hiding places and attacked the queen's men, as Lilybeth freed herself and grabbed a sword, and then went after the queen, who had her own sword, and fought Lilybeth as they slowly backed out onto the precipice as they fought. Then the queen stumbled backwards and fell off of the cliff to her doom. And seeing this, the queen's soldiers stopped their fighting and were disarmed and taken away by Princess Neru's troops. As Lilybeth's soldiers and the people all rejoiced, calling out the name of their princess, Neru. Lilybeth knew now that the fighting was over. She could not stay here. This did not feel like home to her. So she appointed a group of 12 advisors to rule until Princess Neru's return from wherever she had gotten off to. Then, taking one last look around while walking back into the queen's chambers, she took off the ring she had found on the beach, and as she did so, suddenly she found herself back on the beach, where she had found the ring, and began her journey, still holding the ring in her hand, and as she looked at it, she decided she'd keep it. So she took off the chain she was wearing around her neck and slid the ring onto it. I'll keep you safe, she said to the ring, in case I ever need to return to a far distant planet called NRG again, to save the day once again for the people. She said, then looking around, she laid back down onto her blanket and said to herself with a smile, what a lovely day for a holiday. Then she looked around and at all the people also enjoying themselves on the beach, working on their tans, and suddenly spotted someone who looked just like the queen. And she was talking to someone who looked just like the high priest. No, it couldn't be, she thought. Nah. And then she returned to working on her tan and had a nice day at the beach.